Did Mr. Manning, and has the PNM, by you being the chairman here as well, adequately dealt with the issues that led to Mr. Manning being vilified? The issues I'm talking specifically about Udicott, Calderheart, the flag, the church. Have those issues been adequately addressed in your opinion?
Let me address it this way. Let's look at Udicott. Udicott was not only about Udicott, Udicott was also about the construction sector. The intention was that at the end of the Commission of Inquiry, whatever changes are required to make the sector more relevant, more accountable, would be in place. There is a report. The report has said that there should be a number of things that should be corrected. The Cabinet has not yet taken those decisions, but the Attorney General, in his statement to the Parliament, have indicated that we agree and that we will take action. And he's also made two other interventions. He has said that on the basis of the report, the police, the DPP, has been given the report and they are taking action as they see fit, which is their right to so do. And he has indicated as well that the board will be reviewed, which comes out of the activity.
Has it hurt the party though? And I'm not talking about so much the matters of government. I'm talking to you as PNM chairman, the party. Has it hurt the party that the political leader of the party, now that all of these recommendations and reports have come out, he publicly defended Udicott and Calderheart at several times, several places, in a very public fora. He was pictured with him. He was publicly the man's cheerleader. Is that going to be an issue in this election?
It depends on how you look at it. If you ask someone to assist you with your agenda, as we did in the case of Udicott and Calderheart, then you must have some faith in the individual's ability and in the way in which the individual carries out the mandate. The minute you have information to suggest otherwise, then you need to take action. I am suggesting that in this particular case, that was followed. He basically supported Calderheart, as he supports everybody who he has asked to be part of his government. He supports ministers, he supports state enterprises chairmen, because he recognizes that insofar as carrying out their responsibilities in a way in which they are required to so do, and for Trinidad and Tobago to be transformed, in some instances, you have to look at new ways of doing things. And in looking at new ways of doing things, sometimes you need support. He does that.
Dr. Keith Rowley said that this, many months ago, said that if there is an election called, that this will come down to being a Udicott election. Is this a Udicott election? Will Udicott play a great role in how the turnout of this election?
I think in this election, the issue would be, what are you offering the people of Trinidad and Tobago? Recall that the PNM administration has a plan that says, in the shortest possible time, that's the plan, and certainly by the year 2020, we expect to achieve certain things. We said that, and we started 5-year development plans. In the first 5 years, there was a focus on education, there was a focus on health, there's a focus on national security, there's a focus on housing, and there was a focus on social services. That being done, they are still very much a part of the government's policy. The government did not, have not, and is not considering reducing any of those. So those are in place. In this term, what we basically said we were going to look at is infrastructure. So we are looking at road infrastructure, IT infrastructure, building infrastructure. The third piece that we talked about is the piece that relates to governance, and governance as it relates to the institutions that currently exist and our ability to make them better and to make them more transparent in the context of moving forward. That's the agenda.
So Udicott, you don't think, what you're telling me is that you don't think that Udicott will be a weak point or your Achilles heel, as it were?
I think the construction sector, of which Udicott is a part, has displayed to the population certain weaknesses, and that we intend to correct that.
So you admit there have been mistakes?
We said that in putting together the commission, the UF commission, It really was intended to do just that, to examine the sector, to look at its practices, and to make recommendations for a better sector. That was the remit. That is what was done. That is what we had intended to do. But what we did not do is we were not, as some commentators are, the judge, the jury, and the executioner before the case. We basically allowed it to go through its natural process.
Let's talk about some of the other issues. It's been said that, okay, Udicott and Calder Heart, that's one of his major issue for this election. A lot of people are saying this. Brian Lara Stadium, Taruba project, many of the projects, Waterfront, Napa, etc. That whole issue is one thing. We've dealt with that. Let's talk about another issue that many people say has not been addressed adequately by the party. Yes, everyone is entitled to their own religious values and spiritual beliefs, but the issue of a spiritual advisor being given, as is reported, diplomatic courtesies and privileges on state trips. Do you know that to be true?
The Minister of Foreign Affairs, I think, responded to that and said that to the best of her knowledge, that is not so. I have no evidence or information otherwise.
Are you satisfied with the explanation that has been presented by the Prime Minister?
I think that it is only the Prime Minister who can deal with that matter because it's a matter for which he has personal knowledge.
But you as the party chairman, are you satisfied or comfortable with what has been said so far?
I think that what he sought to do was to answer questions that were posed to him. Whether he answered them in a manner that satisfied everybody, I'm not in a position to say. But insofar as I'm concerned, the questions that were in fact raised, he answered.
The other issue is, of course, the PNM has accused the UNC of being in a total mess, internally, externally. We've heard all the political peacock and everything else, and all the chips that, you know, the PNM has put into the armor of the UNC. But at the same time, the PNM has had its own problems. It's had its own mess as well. Dr. Keith Rowley and the relationship between him and the Prime Minister, the public tension, public spat, it's no secret. In fact, it was the subject of a debate. It came up in debate several times, and across the floor, we had, talking about airing dirty linen in public, we had a public spectacle in the Parliament of PNM parliamentarians attacking each other across the floor. Dr. Keith Rowley has been successfully screened. How is he, given all the bad blood, going to work with the PNM in its campaign?
Well, the way I look at it is slightly different to the way you've just expressed it. Dr. Rowley has basically said that he is a member of the PNM and that his business with the Prime Minister as it relates to government portfolio is something that is separate and apart from his involvement in the PNM. That is to say, that as a member of the PNM, he believes in the values that the PNM brings to the table. But insofar as the government is concerned, the matter of ministerial appointment rests with the Prime Minister. So he's made that distinction. In the context of the PNM, we all know that when you determine that you are going to serve the PNM, you serve on the basis of where the political leader as head of the party determines that you would serve. There are some people that serve in elected politics. There are some that serve as senators. There are some that serve as ambassadors. And there are some that serve as chairmen and some that serve as various other places because it's a large, large group. But that determination, by and large, is left up to the political leader. And therefore, insofar as Dr. Rowley is concerned, insofar as all of those of us who serve is concerned, we basically serve where the political leader determines that we bring the best value.